Today on the channel, it's a special edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 10 as we look at the top 10 Undertaker figures of all time.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here. Welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 10. As you guys know, we do these top 10s at subscriber milestones on the YouTube channel, and we have hit 15,000 subscribers, so it is time for the Undertaker Top 10. That was the consensus of my Patreon. If you're looking at my Patreon, link in the description below, as the top tier members get to vote on who we do for these top 5, top 10 lists, and we chose the Undertaker Top 10. Very fitting, coming off of his Hall of Fame ceremony, his WrestleMania Dallas appearance, the final tombstone in The Undertaker's career. I don't know what we'd call it. Something tells me we'll still see him around, but he definitely is in the Hall of Fame now. You can officially call him Hall of Famer, The Undertaker. And of course, we do these top 10 lists. This is my top 10 list. I'm going to tell you guys, make sure you put your top 10 list in the comments in the description down below, of course. But I started at number 10. We work it all the way to number 1. We will find out what my favorite Undertaker figure is of all time. That being said, a little caveat, a little asterisk to this. This is just Dead Man Undertaker. These top 10 list, or this top 10 list, I should say, does not include the Biker Taker. So the Biker Taker figures, I'll save those for their own top 5 probably down the line. But this is top 10 Dead Man Undertaker. So once again, make sure you put your list in order. That's the challenging part. Put it in the comments down below, as there's a lot of Undertaker figures, as we all know. So it took a while to look through every figure to find out which one goes where for me on my list. I'm sure it'll be the same for you. Without further ado, let's get down to it. The top 10 Undertaker list of all time. All right, we kick off the top 10 Undertaker figures of all time at number 10. Oh, who would have thought? But number 10 comes to us from Mattel, from the Mattel Elite line. It is the Walmart exclusive. Came out about, a year and a half ago, roughly, give or take. We're talking the Mattel 80, I believe it was Elite 80, Collector's Edition Walmart exclusive version of The Undertaker. A nice representation of an end-of-the-road Undertaker. Very cool packaging with this one, and that is part of this top 10 list is the packaging. Even though I do open up the majority of my figures, the packaging does play a part in some of these figures as well, in these top 10 lists, top 5 lists. But really like this Undertaker. Beautiful sculpting to the jacket here. It is hard goods jacket, not soft goods, but beautiful decoration, decor to it. Hat removable. Beautiful Undertaker head sculpt. Looks really good. Looks like Taker. Got the good hair going on. Then, of course, the black outfit underneath. But a very, very cool moment in time Undertaker. A figure that I thought would be worth a heck of a lot more money at this point in time. But we know we're getting more Undertaker figures to come. But this one was feeling really special when it first came out. It's had a purple packaging, looked different than traditional Elites. Supposedly, you know, the thank you Undertaker figure. I really thought this one would skyrocket a little faster. But currently now, as of now, you can get this for about $35, something like that. So not out of the woodshed of being extravagant, super expensive, hard to find, anything like that. But still a very, very cool late career run Undertaker figure, and much, much recommended from me, and that's why it comes in at number 10 on our top 10 Undertaker figure list. All right, we're feeling fine at number 9, and the number 9 spot comes to us from Jakks. Yes, Jakks. You guys know I have a very soft spot for the Jakks Ruthless Aggression Classic Superstars line style of figures. That is the evolution of action figures. That is what brought us to Mattel and Jazzware, Super 7, things like that. They did change the game a lot. A lot of people look back at them and say, oh, these aren't anything special compared to now. But you go back in time, holy cow, they were awesome, and I still find them to be very awesome today. But that being said, I would say outside, Jakks probably made the most Undertaker figures of any toy line ever. If you really think about it, Ruthless Aggression style, Undertaker was wrestling. He was an active competitor during the majority of that run. So we were getting Taker in about every single set. A lot of them are very similar. Hands maybe changed, slight outfit changes. Not a ton of differences. But we did get the Classic Superstars that gave us some other ones and things like that. But as a whole, we got a ton of Ruthless Aggression style, Bone Cruncher, Titantron, R3. You get the old pattern there. But Jakks gave us a lot of different Undertakers, and a lot of them, honestly, though, were very similar, especially during the Ruthless Aggression era run. Not a lot of difference between the figures. So a lot of those didn't make the list, and really not a whole lot of Jakks did. As Mattel, they really stole my heart and never let go on some of these Undertaker figures. But there's a few Jakks ones we're going to talk about, and long way to get there. At number 9 here, we're doing a deep cut Jakks Ruthless Aggression style figure. Some people may not even know this figure exists. Some of you guys may have this figure in kind of a different incarnation, and that's why I was talking about Jakks doing subtle changes here and there. But number 9 for me goes to the WWE Shop Ruthless Aggression era exclusive Undertaker box set figure right here. WWE Shop Zone exclusive Undertaker, nice purple packaging. Very, very cool. There was a lot of different shop exclusives back in the day. I wish WWE Shop would get back to some more exclusives. We got the Hardy Boys was probably the last one, and I think you could also get that at FYE. But the Undertaker here, had to get this one now. It is the same as some of the other Ruthless Aggression figures from the Jakks line, except you get some soft goods with this one. You get the special packaging. That's the difference here. And to me, that makes it more special, makes it a cooler figure with the soft goods and the special packaging. But very, very cool, as you can see. A really good-looking Undertaker figure here. Beautiful purple packaging. Guys, autograph, because I'm sure you really signed this, and not really. You got the tail of the tape. You got the blurb on the back. Big blurb on the back. From the moment his signature gong fills the air, the WWE fans are captivated by Undertaker's mere presence. The dead man from Death Valley is usually a man of few words, but can often intimidate even the toughest WWE superstars with one glance. His somber persona has been a terrifying trademark of WWE for over 15 years, and no list of WWE all-time greats can be considered complete without The Undertaker. So very cool pack here. Very rare. You don't see this pop up a whole lot anymore. Like I said, it really flew under the radar, as we knew Jakks had tons and tons of figures being released at all times, including shop exclusives. Not everybody was collecting everything or keeping up with everything, but this is a must-have. That's why it comes in at number 9 on my top 10 Undertaker list. All right, we continue the Undertaker countdown with number 8, and number 8 once again comes from Jakks, but this time the Jakks Classic Superstars line. As you guys know, soft spot for classics. Every Tuesday on the channel, we have been doing for over 2 years a Jakks Classic Superstars video, so you knew there had to be at least some Jakks Classic Superstar representation here, and it took a while. I looked around. I really had to look for the Undertaker top 10 figures. There's so many figures, so many different toy lines looking around. This one always stuck out to me, and it's always an interesting one. I explained it in those Classic Superstars videos. I'm going to explain it again here. But number 8 is the 1 of 3,000 Jakks Classic Superstar exclusive Undertaker. Once again, soft goods, classic Deadman style, very close to his debut look. You get the urn, you get the world title when he beat Hulk Hogan, of course. You get a stretcher. Very kind of weird that we get a stretcher here. It would have been better with a body bag or a casket or something, but I get what they're going for, but you got a stretcher there. 1 of 3,000 edition. Very, very cool. There's also a 1 of 100 glow-in-the-dark version, which I do not own, unfortunately, that came out at the same time as this one. But a very classic Undertaker, a very cool one, especially back in 2008. A very cool Undertaker. You know, maybe today, not as cool with the Mattel and the evolution of figures and all, but 2008, this was beyond a slam dunk, but very, very cool. And then one thing that I talked about, we said it in the classic video, it was a couple years after this was released that I understood that the beard on this one is actually flocked. How strange is that? But he has a flocked beard. If you're familiar with He-Man, like Panther being flocked, Mossman, that kind of thing. That's what we have with The Undertaker here. So really taking this figure to the next level. They didn't have to flock the beard, but trying to be different, trying to be groundbreaking in wrestling figures. I thought that was a really, really cool idea to this one. And for a one-off exclusive, even better idea. But for me, coming in at number 8, The Undertaker Jakks Classic Superstars, 1 of 3,000 exclusive. All right, we continue working our way, and we're at the number 7 spot now. And the number 7 spot was a game changer in a lot of ways. And it came from Mattel, and it came from Elite Series number 1. We got the Elite Series number 1 The Undertaker. When all things are said and done, I have to think this will be one of the most valuable Undertaker figures of all time because it is the first of Mattel. Mattel will have the license for the longest of anybody from the WWE. We're talking Hasbro, LJN, Jakks, you get the point. Mattel will be the longest running line. The Elite line will be the greatest line of all time. As much as I love the classic superstars, they didn't run forever. They only had 28 sets plus ancillary sets, of course. Mattel Elite, we're going to be well over 100 before things are said and done. Who knows, maybe even 200. So it is truly the longest running line. The basics, of course, are a big part of that. That's the true longest running line. But we'll be over 100 Elite sets. Just think about that, how many figures that is. It's a lot. You can see just a little piece of it behind me. But to get The Undertaker in Series 1, first of all, that's very fitting. He is one of the longest reigning stars of all time, one of the most popular stars of all time. So it's very fitting he's in number 1, and I fully expect him to be in Series 100. I can't imagine that not happening. You kind of bookend a little bit. But just to get his first figure from the Mattel Elite line, and then we've had 20 plus probably, whatever the number is after that, to see where it all started with Mattel, there's truly something special here. Now, that being said, this isn't the most special Undertaker figure either. It's kind of the history of this one that makes it a little bit more special. But it is a fine-looking Undertaker, kind of later in the years Undertaker. Not as dead man. It's more of a Undertaker version of the Undertaker. He's working in a graveyard or something. But it's not as spiritual, supernatural as some of the other ones, I guess you would say, with the urn and all that. But a very, very solid-looking figure. Hard goods coat on this one, but it's Undertaker. You know it's Undertaker. And just the magic around Series 1 of Mattel, that's why he hits the number 7 spot for me. All right, we're at number 6, almost halfway there. And number 6 is one that came out in the last, year or so, something like that. It comes from the Legends line. I believe Legends Series 9, The Undertaker from Mattel. An interesting one. Phantom of the Undertaker is what this always reminds me of. And this was truly a game changer in the Undertaker way back in the day, as we knew the gray and the black and the Undertaker motif. We were used to the Undertaker. Then he gets his face smashed. He changes up his colors, adds a little bit of purple, has to wear a face mask for a little bit of time. Truly the first evolution of the Undertaker character, I would say. And it was cool to get this one represented in the Legends line fairly recently. You get the purple and black attack, I guess we'd call it. But we get the Phantom of the Opera. You guys know I'm a sucker for a masked figure, even in my Undertaker. But very interesting figure here with the purple, silver, black. Really does stand out against his old, just gray and black, I guess he had in times before that one. A very cool one, a nice one to get in the Mattel Legends line. This was a Target exclusive, as you guys are probably aware, but just different enough to be dangerous, I guess we'll call it, and that's why it comes in at number 6 in my top 10 list. All right, we're at the halfway point. We're at the number 5 spot in my top 10 Undertaker countdown list. As a reminder, make sure you put your list in the comments down below and put them in order, starting at number 10, working your way to number 1. But number 5 for me is an interesting one, and I remember picking this up at Toys R Us because it was a Toys R Us exclusive. It once again does come from Mattel. It is the Undertaker Network Spotlight exclusive. I really like this version of the Undertaker. As far as Undertaker goes, when he came out, I was a little kid. I was like 9 years old when he debuted in WWE. I've told this story numerous times, but bear with me. He was Mean Mark Callous in WCW, who was a favorite of mine as a kid. I loved Mean Mark. I loved the skyscrapers, but I really loved the heart punch finishing move. He debuts at Survivor Series. He comes out, and I remember sitting on my couch as a kid, getting it on pay-per-view, 9 years old, 9 years old, whatever I was. I remember just seeing him come out. I said, wait a minute, that's Mean Mark Callous. Where most kids of my age were not watching WCW, especially on the old playground in my school. Nobody watched WCW except probably me, from out of my friend group for sure. So immediately I'm like, what is Mean Mark doing here? What is that? Where all my other friends come to school Monday morning and they're like, Kyle, did you see this guy, this new Undertaker? I'm like, yeah, it's Mean Mark. And they had no idea what I'm talking about. So a little of the shine from the Undertaker wore off on me right away. For a lot of kids of my age and my generation, they didn't know Undertaker any different. And I think that's what affected me in my Undertaker fandom for all the years. I just couldn't get past the Mean Mark to the Undertaker. I know it's weird. You got to suspend disbelief. It's wrestling. I get all that kind of stuff. But it is what it is. Everybody's different, and that's how I always viewed The Undertaker. However, he went to Biker Undertaker later on. I really did enjoy the Biker Undertaker era. But The Undertaker really won me over as far as his dead man persona, his paranormal persona, whatever you want to call it, around the Attitude Era. That's what I really like The Undertaker the best at his era of being a dead man. Something about the very devilish facial hair he has going on in this figure, the Ministry, his team, his group around him. I thought it was fabulous, just absolutely fabulous. You know, Stone Cold, Stephanie kidnapping, that whole area, the Acolytes, Viscera, those guys around him. I really enjoyed that era of Undertaker, and I like this kind of demonic priest Undertaker version. He's got the robe going on here. Just a fabulous network spotlight figure. I think I mentioned that earlier. But great articles of clothing underneath. I love the hair up in the high ponytail. And then, like I said, the beautiful long goatee going on here. I'm almost tempted to shave my beard and just run with this look after looking at this figure here. But a fabulous one. The network spotlight, Toys R Us exclusive, Undertaker, coming in at number 5. All right, we continue on, and we're at the number 4 spot, and the number 4 spot figure for The Undertaker was the Undertaker figure I played with the most by miles. By miles. As I said, I was a kid of the Hasbro LJN generation. Those were my prime playing days. I dabbled with the Bone Crunchers at the very end of my playing days, but primarily it was Hasbro's LJN. So anytime we got new Hasbros, was a magical day, and Hasbros were great for my generation. A lot of the younger kids now don't know about this stuff. You went to the store pegs and you would see something new and you were just shocked. You had no idea it was coming out. You never knew when it was coming out, but every time you went to the store, hey, maybe there'll be something new. Maybe there'll be something new. Maybe there won't be, but every once in a while there was something new, and LJN and Hasbro days was just something magical. You had to have been of the age to truly appreciate it, I really feel. But I love the Hasbro figures, and that's where we get our Undertaker from. We get the Hasbro Undertaker. Not version 1. I went with the version 2 one. A little darker beard and darker hair on this one. But, of course, the soft goods jacket. That's what brought this one. It basically is the exact same figure outside of the color changes as the first Undertaker. And, of course, I enjoyed that first Undertaker. Kind of lumping them together, really, here at number 4. But I'm going to go with this one just because of the soft goods. But, man, what a game changer. Now, I said previously Undertaker wasn't my favorite. But guess what? Kyle was getting every single Hasbro. And anytime you get a bad guy Hasbro to go up against his Ultimate Warriors, his Hulk Hogan's, his LODs, whoever it may be, it was just great in your playing days to get a new heavy hitter into your collection. He was taking the top spot right away. You'd get home from Target or wherever you bought these guys. You'd run up to your room. You'd get the ring out. It was main event time. And you know that new wrestler, he was getting a big push that night. He was taking the title belt. He was a big surprise entrant. Just something fabulous about being a kid playing with this stuff. And Undertaker went straight to the top, took the world title, feuded with Hogan, Warrior, you name it. I had all kinds of fun with the Undertaker Hasbro figure. Just a fabulous time to be alive as a little kid, collecting the Hasbros, playing with them. So a lot of memories tied to this one. And like I said, the one figure I played with the most out of all my Undertaker figures would have to be the Hasbro Undertaker. So that's why he comes in hot at number 4. All right, we're at the number 3 spot in our top 10 Undertaker list, the final 3. And number 3, once again, comes from Mattel. Mattel, of course, producing the majority of the recent Undertaker figures. A lot of different looks from the Undertaker coming from Mattel over the last 10 plus years. But here at number 3, we're going to the Target exclusive once again. We're going to the Target exclusive Hall of Champions line for a deep cut Undertaker that I don't see a lot of people talking about. I don't see it around a whole lot compared to some of the other ones. But number 3, Hall of Champions Undertaker with tag team title belt. Once again, very similar to the Network Spotlight one. This is kind of the Ministry version of the Undertaker. And I loved the gear on the Undertaker here, incorporating the red into his outfit, into his gear. Made him look even that more menacing. You know, obviously red correlates with Satan. Yes, Satan. But we got a little of that going on here. But fabulous looking Taker, the tattoos, once again the facial hair, looking really good. Just a fabulous, very, very much underrated Undertaker figure in the grand scheme of the hundreds of Undertaker figures we have gotten over the years. Just really, really do like this one. This is the scariest version of the Undertaker for me, too. I know a lot of kids, I wasn't, but a lot of kids scared of the very early days Undertaker with Paul Bearer leading him out there with the urn and all that. didn't do anything for me, but the Ministry of Darkness, bringing the Satanism into it all, the heavy metal of it all, into the scope of the wrestling arena, did a whole lot for me. Yes, he borrowed some stuff from Kevin Sullivan back in the day, but a new spin on it with The Undertaker at the helm. Just really do like this era, and that's why he comes in at number 3 on my top 10 list. All right, we're down to it. We're at the number 2 spot for the top 10 Undertaker figures of all time, and at number 2 for me, we come to Mattel once again, and this is a very interesting one from Mattel, and I'm going to show both versions of this one, but really, truly, the number 2 version for me is the Undertaker San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Undertaker figure. Yes, this one right here, which of course we have a loose version of, but the loose one is a little different. This is the Defining Moments version. So if you guys remember the Defining Moments line, really one of the best lines Mattel has ever done. I hope it comes back one of these days. You never know. It's happened before. Entrance grades came back. Why can't Defining Moments? But the Defining Moment version of Undertaker, we got a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive one. Now, the differences between the two is the packaging, of course. San Diego Comic-Con packaging here. But the eyes on the Undertaker are all white on this one, rolled back in his head, you know, traditional Undertaker, where this has the traditional eyes, just normal eyes on this one. That's the point of difference. But I really do like the San Diego Comic-Con one because of the eye roll in the back. But either way, you can't go wrong with this figure. Soft goods cape, as we know we're in the thick of cape season right now. Beautiful sculpting, beautiful overlay, plastic overlay on the Taker. Colorful tattoos, which is always a plus. Once again, I'm a sucker for this facial hair on the Undertaker, the high ponytail. This is my favorite era of the dead man, we'll say. But then this fabulous packaging on this, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusivity of it all. Just a very, very cool figure, a very cool representation of this era of Undertaker. I'm all in on this one. That's why he comes in at number 2 on my top 10 list. All right, we've come to the end of the road. We're at the number 1 Undertaker figure of all time as voted by me. Make sure you put your list in the comments down below and put them in order. Like I always say, that's the fun. That's the challenging part. Go through, look up Undertaker figures. Maybe you have some things I have. I'm sure some of you guys will. Maybe you'll have a few things different than I will. And of course, the Underbiker is not involved in this top 10 list as we talked about at the beginning. And of course, you've made it this far, you might as well thumbs up the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Every single Thursday on the channel, we do these countdown lists of figures, top 5s, top 10s every once in a while. Things like that. Love to have you on board, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then, of course, follow along on social media, SirPaul64 at Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and Patreon.com. Search Kyle Peterson for these videos much, much earlier than traditional YouTube. And best of all, you support the channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get into the number 1 Undertaker figure. Number 1 comes once again, no surprise, from Mattel. I feel they've done the best versions of The Undertaker as a whole, and obviously they've been going around for a long time, Mattel. But number 1 for me is Mattel Defining Moments Survivor Series 1996 version of The Undertaker. Now, the packaging, a big part of this one, of course, Defining Moments, beautiful packaging here, beautiful decoration pieces. You don't have to hang them on the wall. You can stand them up, looking really good. The gold belt down here. Fabulous Undertaker. I love the back packaging here so you can see through the back as well. You can see the Undertaker's beautiful cape. Very, very cool. Very hard to find. One of the most expensive Defining Moment figures. One of the hardest to find Defining Moment figures. You guys know I had to have a loose version of this one as well. And it's really cool as it gives us something totally different from Mattel as we get the cape, wings, I don't know what you call this thing, but it's almost like bat wings, but where he flew down to the ring, I believe, to face Mankind, I believe in 96, I believe that's what it was, wasn't it? Mankind? I think so. But he came back after being buried alive, and then you got this whole apparatus that you can take the wings off if you want to play with this one, but he does look really cool displayed with the wings. He's got his old prison teardrop there, awfully sad. You know, he had to kill a guy in prison, I'm pretty sure. That's what that signifies. I guess it does say on the back of this package. After being buried alive months earlier, Undertaker made his return to WWE Survivor Series 96, defeating his former rival Mankind, winning entry into the steel cage that held Paul Bearer captive 20 feet above the ring. So there you go. So it was Mankind. But a fabulous, fabulous one. Whenever I think Undertaker figures, I close my eyes. I think of all the hoopla and all the fun around chasing this one down back in the day. getting a second one loose, which I decided much later. I said, you know what? I need a second version of this one. So I ended up pulling the trigger and doing that. But just the coolness factor of this, giving us a cape with a wire, a moment in time Undertaker. Not my favorite era. The Ministry era is my favorite, but this is pretty close to that era. Just what this represents is very cool and very awesome, and that is why it comes in at number 1 on my top 10 Undertaker figures of all time. Like I said, make sure you put yours in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff, and we'll be back next Thursday with another version of the Kyle Peterson Top 5 list.